Hello, and welcome to Blockchange Solidarity, the podcast where we ask what blockchain can do for us. What is blockchain? What is crypto? Could it rescue us from our current dystopia? Come with us as we explore the very real potential to enhance human freedom, and as we delve into the darker side, predicting the Bond-villain potential of this current bleeding edge. Join us, a group of friends, in a pub style as we discuss the overlaps between this technology and politics, economics, the environment, culture, and sci-fi, to understand for ourselves the seemingly mysterious, futuristic world on our horizon.
Okay, bang bang. Welcome back to Blockchain Solidarity, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This week we have something a little bit different. We're interviewing KokonutDAO from the Dominican Republic. We're joined by Alejandro, who is at the center of all things KokonutDAO over there. We're so excited to speak to him. And I'm joined by my co-host, new co-host this week for this episode, Vanessa, who's from Venezuela. So glad to have you here, Vanessa. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to join you today and to get to know more about Alejandro and KokonutDAO.
Yeah, fantastic. And folks listening, we're bringing Vanessa on to co-host for this one because it's like a regen DAO project that we're so excited about. And really, she's going to be, all things being well, in the next few weeks, she's going to be hosting her own podcast under Blockchain Solidarity, which is going to focus on those themes. Regen, everything, planetary health, human health. And it's going to be exciting. We're launching that in the next few weeks. So Vanessa is getting some nice experience here with me to see if she can work with me and get some nice experience interviewing our first regen guest, really. So yeah, thanks for joining, Vanessa, and let's crack on and focus on the guest, shall we? Maybe. But,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
do that.
Alejandro, how are you this morning? How's things in Dominican Republic?
Good morning, GM. Thank you for the invitation to the show. Everything is great today in the Dominican Republic. We have a sunny day. It's very sunny, but you can still feel the breeze of Christmas.
Oh, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful.
we
And
respect the holidays so much that you can feel it in the air, even in the air. Like people is just relaxing, waiting for the new year. Like nobody's trying to.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, we
I know
have.
exactly what you mean. I know, and that beautiful feeling when it's just after Christmas and before the New Year, where there's that sort of
Yes.
lazy happiness in the air. And yeah, we had horrible rain here in Rio de Janeiro yesterday. It looks like it's not a lot better today. What's it like up in Caracas, Vanessa?
We've had some sunny days. The light in December gets really, really beautiful, but it's cold. Of course, this cold is a joke compared to actual winters, but yeah, it's cold
Yeah.
for Caribbean blood creatures like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like that.
Oh my God, the weather is changing so much. Climate change, isn't it, folks? Which is why we need regeneration of the planet. Why we're all here doing this. Why we're all passionate about it. So let's talk a little bit about Coconut DAO. Coconut DAO is, so for some folks who might not even, maybe listening, might not know what a DAO is. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a new form of organizing efforts really to change the world. It's non-hierarchical, and it's community-led, or at least it should be, and it is with Kokonut DAO. They're using coconuts in the Dominican Republic as the core of this, to provide agricultural regeneration and community power and wealth. And so it's just fantastic. That's what we're all about here at Blockchain Solidarity. Local efforts, community driven, and new ways of thinking about the world that has other things at focus rather than profit. So that's what we want to platform. We're so excited to have Alejandro here. Alejandro, let's start. Let's get to know you a little bit more before we dive into Coconut DAO. Tell us who you are. What's your background? How did you get started in crypto? What tell us your journey.
Yeah, my name is Alejandro, better known as Wasabi in the social media. I'm the founder of Kokonut Network. We are based in the Dominican Republic. This is where we are kickstarting the project, like with the first coconut plantation that's gonna be 100% community owned and community led by the KokonutDAO. We are basically building a blockchain hub that that is trying to overcome the weakness of the old system. My story is funny because I have always been dealing with tech one way or another. I remember back in high school, I used to I used to have my first company was a voice over AP company. I used to install the phone booth that you needed to do international calls. Because back in the day, there was no the smartphones or fiber internet. Like you had to actually go out and go to an internet cafe and get into the phone so you are able to call your family or call.
I remember those days well. They seem so distant, but seem so near as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was my first company. So I had like 15 years old when I created my first company. So after that, I was involved in all type of technical information side of the world. Like I became eBay power seller for the same equipment that I used to sell back in 2006. I became an eBay power seller, so I was drug shipping from China to all over the world. The same equipment that I used to install back in the day. So after that, I became a sort of e-commerce wizard. So I spent the next 10 years in eBay reselling and drop shipping and selling a bunch of stuff that has to do with the voice over IP business that I had. I had a wellness company, so we used to sell all of the natural products that you need for the skin, for the face, and you know, and so on. So I have always been dealing with technology one way or another. So I'm an early crypto adopter. Like I started dealing with Bitcoin back in 2012. So
Oh
basically,
wow. Yeah,
yeah,
you've been in it some time then. Yeah, a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So
but
I've
that's not
been.
so surprising. Yeah. What about you, Vanessa? Have you been in it as long as that?
Oh, definitely not. I have like, let's
Yeah.
say, 3 years, I think, surfing the
Yeah.
space. But I wanted to ask you, Alejandro, coming from tech, what got you interested in agriculture?
Yeah, that's something. That's a funny history. I was in my house, in my home office, like any, like a regular day. One of my friends came to visit with another friend. We was talking about real estate. Then we jumped to agriculture. He said like, "Oh, I'm trying to develop this project. I try to get government funding so we can develop the plantation because like it's hard when you have a crop that you have to wait almost 4 years for you to collect. Like you need to have deep pockets or you need to have some
Yes.
of you know of financing.
Yeah.
It's hard when everybody is counting on the system to help them out, and
Yeah.
that's what's happening. Like government system can't keep up with all of the demand they have from the citizens. So they wasn't able to get the money for the project, or to get like at least a human layer between the money and the project, because sometimes it's not even the money, because you have plenty of capital out there, but it's the lack of something that is good, that has been really thought about how to implement, and have a great design. Sometimes it is lack of a good product, lack of
Yeah, yeah.
rather than lack of funding, because there is money everywhere, but there is not good products or good protocol or services.
It takes a lot more to run a business than just have funding to back you. You know, as you said. I thought you were going to answer that question, like why coconuts. This is very from a Western perspective, a young person's Western perspective. Why my answer here, but perhaps I thought that because coconuts are popular amongst party goers, right? For curing hangovers. So I thought that might have been your route in, that you had a bad hangover one day, and
I'm not
your
really.
love of coconut. You said, "I love this coconut. I'll take it to the moon."
Not really. I didn't knew anything about coconuts like 2 years ago. Like I have the normal information that any other humans has about coconuts, but I didn't knew to the point where how useful the coconuts can be. So everything
Yeah,
starts like, oh, let's do this project. Like the first idea was to just get some money and create a coconut plantation. But once I went to the local town, once I saw the impact that we can create and we can derive from what we're doing, that's where I got hooked into, okay, this is the way to go, and we choose the right path. Like it's like a big explainer that we made 1 year ago. Like, why a DAO and not a company? That
yeah,
was a question that, like, that was the first question that we did for the project. Like, how you answer this? It's simple. Like, everybody can have a company. Like, we have planting permits, we have land, we have the farmers, we have everything. We can go to a bank and get the money, and we don't have
right.
to deal with a DAO. But why a DAO? Like,
That
because
that's the question. That's the question that our audience will be absolutely like so interested to hear. Like, why a DAO? So yeah, so intrigued to hear this. Go
yeah,
ahead.
why a DAO? Because having a DAO is the best and most safe way for you to scale any project. Like, for example, I can go to the bank, and they
Right.
love agricultural project, and they would love to give me the money to bankroll the operations. That's an option. Like, that's there. We can execute this auction wherever we want, because like I said, we have planting permits, we have land, we have everything that we need. But why a DAO? Because it's easier for us to scale, and it's easier for us when we are a bigger network. It's easier to manage everything and to have the oversight that we need for us to not commit the same errors that Web3 projects and things being committed through the year. Like, if you see all of the crypto crashes, it has a common thread, and it's the lack of oversight over the founders. That was the
So you
problem.
you were an early adopter, right? And you were on the tech side. But how was it that you came up with the idea of funding a DAO, specifically a DAO? How was it you heard about what DAOs are, and you got interested?
Yeah, so seeing as I've been in tech, I'm always reading about new concepts. I was reading a lot about DAOs, like about 1 year. Let's say 18 months ago, I was reading a lot about DAOs, but I didn't knew about the community and about the Web3 community. Like I knew that there is this tech, and you can use this tech to send crypto all over the world. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's what everyone knows about crypto. But I didn't knew that alongside with the DAOs movement was a Re5 movement, was a Web3 movement. Like I didn't knew about the community side. So when I was doing research for DAOs and how to create a DAO in a way that stay compliant and that we don't need to audit because we are using a tech that is already out there that being battle tested. That's when I discovered DAO House. That's where when I discovered the Web3 community. That was the aha moment for me to say, okay, it was the right decision to try to build a DAO because now I know that there is a community out there that they understand the mindset of a DAO, and they are basically they have already built the DAO ecosystem, and they have many other upsides that comes to having a DAO. So that was the aha moment for me, and that's when I said, okay, this is the right path, and this is where where I want to build out the project as a DAO in the web
It,
community.
it's really interesting because I think like I'm just like listening to everything you're hearing and putting myself in the shoes of all of our audience, like from whatever angle they're coming from, and especially those who are in impact or in sort of local community regeneration, and they may not have too much crypto experience, tech experience. They may never have heard of DAOs before, but I think what you're saying here, your story, Wasabi, is like, yeah, you came from a tech background and touched in on crypto, but this is also a story of you've more recently proactively like research DAOs. You've made an effort to see what that's about, because at the core of what you're trying to do is build community and regenerate and use coconuts for that effort, right? And so you've that's been at your heart, your passion, and you've looked for ways to best do that. What's the most effective way? Like you mentioned scale. What's the best way to do these efforts? So I think people listening who are like, well, I have a impact cause that I'm passionate about. Can I do this? Sure, sounds like I can do that. It doesn't sound overwhelming from what I've just heard, and it sounds like if you can do that with coconuts, gosh, you can do this with other things, like like that. So this is really positive. This is like really uplifting for other people to listen to this. It's inspiring to get going and do it, which is what we want. Would you agree with that? Would you say, like, from your experience so far, like, that anyone, you could do this with coconuts, you could do this with whatever else, melons, any other agricultural product, but you can do it. It works for any other impact cause as well. Is that what would you agree with that?
Yeah, I believe that what we're doing can have a great impact in how communities coordinate and organize themselves. Because we are basically creating a source of value and revenue for the Web 2 and Web 3 communities. At the same time, we are preserving
Right.
and we are taking care of the environment because I don't know if you already know that coconut trees are a great source of pollen for bees. So we are basically creating an ecosystem that can be shelter for animals, but can be a source of pollen for bees and help with the pollination. We can sequester carbon from the air. We are going to coconut tree. They are awesome to regenerate the soil. So basically, it's a win-win situation for everyone, and we are creating value from taking care of the land and taking care of the people because sometimes people that have land and people that owns land, they don't make the right decisions because they lack of understanding and they lack of knowledge of what's possible and how can you better use any resource that you have, even your time. And that's basically what we wanted to create an ecosystem where even your time is a valuable asset that the network needs, and the network can reward you back from your efforts.
Awesome. Vanessa, I don't know if you have any questions to this point before I ask the next one. Feel free to dive in at any time.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask you, what other ways is it regenerative? You know, you're talking about building an ecosystem with the coconuts that I think it's beautiful. In which other ways would you say this is regenerative?
In many ways, for example, coconuts are circular by default. Like when you deal with coconuts, if you are conscious about environment, you're gonna take advantage of every part for many reasons. For example, you can use the coconut waste to create natural pesticides. You can use the coconut waste to create a compost. You can use the coconut waste to create biodiesel. You can, from one coconut, you can create the water, oil. You can use the shells to create other byproducts. So basically,
Wow, I didn't know half of that. That's fascinating. Wow.
yeah. So basically, there are many ways for us to actually be in the safe side when it comes to regeneration. For example, if we want to just use the waste, the coconut waste, to create this compost that has all of the nutrients that the soils needs to stay healthy, and we can, for example, sell this compost or sell this waste to other companies that are gonna keep on updating the same waste. You can create parts for the cars. So basically, you have a single tree that has many uses. That's regeneration, because you, from one product that don't degrade the environment, you can create other upsides that can benefit the same environment or the people or the animals that are living on it. So basically, the ecosystem that we are creating is gonna be circular when it comes to value and when it comes to benefits for the environment.
I'm glad you asked that question, Vanessa, because that's like right up the core of your interest and passions. Let me ask one that is like more maybe directly up mine at blockchain solidarity, and it's about what's also core at KokonutDAO, like regeneration of the planet, the ecosystem, but also building up power from bottom up, right? Yeah, bringing in the community to own Coconut DAO, to feel that it's theirs, to manage it. So, can you dive into a little bit, Wasabi, just how that is at Coconut DAO? Like, what is the community involvement? Is it global? Is it like who are the people actually in the DAO doing the day to day? What does it look like? Do they own it? Is it tokenomics? What's that path and why? That'd be really fascinating to find out.
Yeah, Kokonut DAO is basically the governance body behind Kokonut Network. Kokonut Network idea is to have a network of coconut farms that we have our values connected to these plantations. For example, for you to become part of the network, if you already have a coconut farm, you have to abide by the guidelines and by how we operate. So we can make sure that you are respecting the planet in the same way, and you are protecting the community in the same way that we envision. So basically, the Kokonut DAO is composed by, let's say, three group of people. Let's say four group of people. You have the landowners. So this is the people that owns the land, and they are putting down the land in a lifetime contract, so we can work and develop the farm. You have the DAO members. They are the only ones that have voting power in the DAO. So, for example, if the DAO member they want to scale the operations to other country, they don't need to rely on the core team or the founders of the project to be like, oh, we want to move or we want to create a new farm in Colombia. Let's say no. 100% of the voting power is held by the DAO members. Me myself, I only have one vote in the DAO, and I don't need more than one vote to
So
be.
just to bring that down to earth, because that's fascinating. Folks listening, the audience will be like, "What?" you know, voting power to do whatever the network, the project wants is bottom up and it's equal. Like that's such a revolutionary concept for folks. So let's put it like, what would that mean? Like, what is the decision that Coconut DAO has taken or could take that the DAO members would be in control of? Did you mention like if they wanted to create a coconut farm in Colombia, they'd vote, let's do it, let's allocate the funding to that, and let's bounce, let's do it. Is that the sort of thing that would
Yeah,
happen?
and they can
Wow.
choose to not have the founders or to not have the core team running the farm. Like the DAO member has fully control over what they can do with the DAO. Let's say, for example, that
Wow.
the DAO is a person. So we are just bringing this one connection to the person. So we bringing the coconut B1 plantation to the person. So we are creating just one connection, but this person is able to create other many connections using the same framework that we already have. They don't need to either consult the core team or to ask for permission to be like, oh, we want to set up a, for example, the DAO has a treasury, so the DAO already have money to purchase
Mm.
land and to have a new operations. If they don't want the core team or the founders operating that farm, it's okay because they have the option to be like, oh, we want a new team, and this is how we want to run everything down in Colombia. Let's leave the R to the founders, but the remaining farms are gonna be run by different things. They have the option because they have the power, and this is where having 100% of the voting power makes sense. When it's time to scale the operations, they are not tied to us, and that's great for me. Like that's
That's so interesting, and I'm
Yes.
I'm glad you went in. I'm glad you went into the reasoning there, like because that is the best way to scale, isn't it? Like the community and the DAO members who have a long term stake in the growth of the project will think maybe more broadly than the core team that have been working on maybe a set part of the project. I mean, we see that everywhere in life, isn't it? Isn't that's the kind of philosophy behind it, as well as the effectiveness of scaling up, as well, isn't it? Like the people at the bottom who are thinking long term will think the best interests of it most of the time. You would think.
yeah. Like I said, we want to create the mindset, because mindset is everything. Like you have people providing land, you have people providing money to build out the farm, and you have the core team that is basically the bridge between the two worlds. That all we have to do is to take care and to make sure that the work plan that we have for the farm is being developed. So you asked me which decisions have been taken by the DAO so far. So right now they've been approving everything, every proposal that we submit, because we have a plan to develop a plantation. So it's not like we trying to create an app that you don't have like a guidebook on how to do it. Like we are trying to do something that people have been doing for thousands of years. That is planting trees. So there
Right.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, there is an actual process for you to plant trees, and that's what we're doing, and that's what the DAO is voting on the work plan, on the budget to develop certain activities that we need to have to prepping the land. So basically, we haven't go technical yet. We haven't go to the tech side, to the side where we propose novelty ideas that on how to mix tech and coconut and agriculture. We haven't go yet because we are just laying out the basics of what we're doing, the basics of how everything is going to work going forward. So
Yeah.
before we go to
Yeah.
the let's say to the advanced mode, and but
Yeah.
that's coming, and next month we are gonna be starting to announce a new set of ideas that we've been working on how to mix everything together, tech, coconuts, and agriculture.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Jump in, Vanessa. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, go ahead. Go
I wanted
ahead.
I wanted to ask you about the stage of the project, which you already answered. But what would be the long-term vision?
The long-term vision is
How are you gonna take How are you gonna take Coconut to the moon, as they say in the
Yeah.
crypto community, or take over the world community led? How are we gonna
One
get there?
coconut at a
We'll
time.
back you all the way.
um I
Yeah.
firmly believe in the power of the people. Like I said, I can go to a bank and get a loan. Like I know I have what it takes to convince any bank or representative. But we choose it that way for many reasons. And one of the reasons is people. Like, what's the long term vision? Well, is to have a perpetual natural asset that is providing value, that is building public goods, and that is community owned, and it doesn't get harmed by market crashes, as because there is no bear market in coconuts. So the long-term vision is to build out this network of farms that work
Globally.
under one umbrella. And coconuts are is the best way to build out this because of how resilient the coconuts are. One coconut tree can last for up to 25 years bearing
Oh
fruit.
wow. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so
Yeah.
basically, when you create a coconut plantation, you are preserving the land for at least 20 years. You
Wow.
are creating an ecosystem that's going to be there for at least 20 years if you don't decide to replant, if you don't decide to renew the farm, is going to be there at least 20 years. So
Uh,
we're building for the long game. We're building something that you are going to be able to pass down to the next generation. So this is why we have to take it step by step and build out the basics before. Like people always come to us, oh, when you launching a token, oh, why don't you have an NFT collection? Yeah,
yeah.
all of that is there, and we can do it. But we need to lay out the basics. We need to build out the trust first, because the trust is the key to having a successful NFT collection. The trust is the key to having a successful token launch. Like the trust is the key to everything. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing first, building out the trust and building out the basics that
Absolutely.
are
And everyone, especially in the Web3 community can spot a scam or something untoward, and equally they will spot something that is genuine, is trying to do it well from the start, is taking their time, is doing it sustainably, is thinking the good way to do it, like you are, before just jumping in. Like that will be noticed by the Web3 community. So I really think you're onto a winner there. Um, I just wanted to ask, like, before I ask the next question, because the audience is probably like wondering how big can this network be? Like, it's not, you're not just limiting it to the Dominican Republic. This could be anywhere in the world. You've already hinted at it when you said Colombia farm. This could be anywhere where coconuts can be grown. Basically, that's the vision. That's the ambition here, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, we building something that we want to create a framework that is easy to scale and to copy from other people. Like we want people to be like, oh yeah, I saw what you guys are doing. I feel inspired. Can you help with some
Right.
resources? I don't know. Like Coconut DAO can be an investor in new projects and seed out new communities and like this is one of the perks of having a DAO that is fully controlled of in the DAO members. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have the oversight 24/7. Like you have something watching, and you have something that it needs to pass down by someone else in order to be approved. Like we want to create an NFT collection. We want the DAO members to participate in the creation of the collection. We want the
Right.
DAO members' input. We want them to be part of designing the collection because we are going to be able to increase the trust in the collection and increase the trust in whatever product that we set out to build. So this is one of the perks of having a DAO where the voting power is in the hands of the DAO members because you have more eyeballs uh, taking a look on what you're doing. And for the purpose of transparency, we even have an open source accounting system. So we can keep up with more than 80 data points on the farm. So we have the information at one click away all the time.
Hey everyone, it's Alex. Just taking a second away from the chat to say thank you again for joining us on this journey. If you like what we're doing, please consider supporting us on our Patreon. We've put the link in the description. Times are very tough out there, so you can also help us in other ways, such as sharing or liking our content on social media, rating our podcast on iTunes, or just spreading the word about our project to your friends and networks. We've put all of these links in the description. Help us build the people system with blockchain. Now, let's get back to the chat.
This is a very interesting model of Web3 for agriculture. Do you know about any other DAOs, not only in Dominican Republic but uh, in any other part of the world doing something similar?
Um, Similar, yeah. But I don't know other DAOs designing the framework and the workflow around the members because that's what we're doing. Like we are not just the building another tool that we be like, oh yeah, we connecting communities to this tool. No, no, we building out the ecosystem and we building out everything around people. So when it comes to the landowners, they are gonna be the ones working in the farm. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they is the same of the DAO. Like the DAO members are governing something that they own. You know, so they are the ones that needs to know that everything is going according to the plan. The same applies to the farmers. Like they providing the land, but they are the one working in the land. So they are making sure that everything is going according to the plan because they are farmers and they know what they're doing. It's not like they providing the land and we bring other people to manage this land. No, 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 no. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we have the DAO. but the DAO is being managed, actually managed by the DAO members, not by us. We are just messengers when it comes to the DAO operations. You know, like everything is in the hands of the community and everything is around the community. Like we are not building tools to connect people and money. No, we are connecting the actual money, the actual people that have the money to the actual people that is working the land and doing the in real life side of the work. Like this, I don't know any other DAO out there.
It's fascinating, and I just want to, because there may be some people listening to this from all around the world, and they may have similar idea. They may want to do it with coconuts. They might just be inspired from this to go, right, we're going to replicate that with coconuts. They might want to do it with another agricultural product. If there is someone out there, and let's say there may not be now, but maybe they're listening to this in 3 or 4 months, the point is, for people out there who want to do that, how do they connect with you, Wasabi and Kokonut DAO or Kokonut Network? Would you want to formally ally with them, and they join your network, and it would just be Kokonut Network Colombia, Kokonut DAO Colombia, but then you all come together and it's part of a wider family? Or would you just like strategically maybe help them out with collaboration resources, something like this? How do you envision it? Like, just because there might be someone out there and goes, they've started wonderful, we'd love to like coordinate, align with them, maybe join their network. Is that something that's possible, or would it just be more of an informal sort of information sharing or something?
Yeah, I can speak by myself and by the mindset behind everything. Yeah, that's actually the idea for other people to replicate what we're doing, and if they just want resources, knowledge, and how to's, yeah, we are open to provide them, and we are building an open system where people is gonna be able to get all of the information that they want about the Kokonut Network operations is going to be there out in the open. The methodologies, the planting process, everything is going to be there for the community. But if they be like, oh yeah, we want to partner up, we want to be part of the network, they're going to be able to simply organize themselves and open a proposal to the DAO. Be like, oh yeah, we have this land in Colombia, for example, we are this group of people and we want to be in the network. We don't have money, we just have the land. We want everything else. We want resources, we want the money. Like, and they can just propose to the DAO the conditions, like, be like, oh yeah, this is how we plan to distribute the ownership or the revenue of the operations. And if the DAO members they vote yes, yeah, why not? Like we can provide the funding, we can provide with the oversight, we can provide with the human layer if they want to. Like we are open to any type of collaboration, no
Mm.
matter if it's a business collaboration or just a collaboration that's gonna benefit the planet or the local communities in your hometown. It's okay. Like just come to us and let's have a chat because like we just want to help and we just want to build new connections. But if it is a business proposal, it's just a proposal to the DAO to be like, oh, we need this amount of money and this is the amount of land and this is the project that we have that we're gonna be able to develop. And as the DAO already have a framework, as the DAO already have the knowledge, as the DAO member already have a system in place, they're gonna be able to make a decision, and they're gonna be able to be like, okay, we this is the due diligence that we need you guys to do, and then we can proceed, or we just gonna send one of the founders over there to take a look, or whatever. It's up to the DAO members to decide how we are
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
proceed. But yeah, we are open to collaboration.
And
Anything is possible. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Vanessa.
yeah, and how has that process been so far? Building community and getting the community to trust the project.
Yeah, and if I can add a little bit add on to that, it's kind of related. Like, we've talked about community voting, community deciding, community working, all that. Our audience will be wondering as well, sort of, the revenue from the coconuts. How does the community benefit? Where does the money go and the revenue? And what is the wealth building side for the community as well? So yeah, I guess maybe one of those leads to the other, but yeah, answer that however which way you wish. Wasabi.
Okay, I'm perfect. Yeah, I'm going answer to Vanessa's question. I can say that it's hard in some way, but at the same time, everything has been organic for coconut. Like we haven't done a marketing plan, strategic. We haven't do a social media campaign. Like everything that has happened to coconut has been something organic. Like this interview was something organic.
Right. Yeah.
I believe that when people see the values and when people see your mindset reflecting in the project that you're working on, they relate to this, and this is how the connections between the community and Coconut be happening for the past 12 months. So I'm grateful for that because we haven't go like, oh yeah, we need to hostel community, we need to hostel the money. We haven't go there yet. Like we are going there in, let's say, 1 week, like starting next year. We for the first time we're gonna be hostling and we're gonna be like, oh yeah, let's chase the new connections and let's chase up wherever we wanted to achieve in the first quarter of the year. So yeah, and when it comes to creating connection, I can say that everything being organic, I'm happy about this because that means that people is relating to what we're doing, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the best way, and especially in Web3, this kind of world that you're operating in, Web3 regen, like everyone, the Kevin O'Walkie narrative, like this kind of like do it right, do it authentic, do it like properly, and the regen like world is all about that. So yeah,
Yeah. When about rewards distribution, and this is the best part. 100% of the profits they came back to the DAO, and the DAO has a really simple governance slash ownership system. For example, governance works based on shares, and the only people that have shares are the DAO members that are putting down the money to develop the farm. Everyone else have loot shares. That is the same as shares, but they don't have voting power. They only have economic rights to the treasury, economic rights when it comes to rewards distribution. That's how we divide the power from the people that only has economic power. DAO members has voting power and economic power, and the landowners, founders, courting, bounty hunters, everyone else only have loot shares. So they only have economic power in the DAO. So when it comes to if you submit a proposal to the DAO, no matter how much money there is in the treasury, the only people with the power to vote on this proposal are the DAO members who bought the shares back in the day, are the DAO members who trust what we're doing and they actually went out and go and get these shares so they can exercise governance in the DAO. So when it comes to landowners, they have the loot share. So, for example, they don't have voting power. If a landowner wants to exit the DAO, the only way for them to exit the DAO is by burning the loot back to the DAO. So this economic right is coming back to the DAO. It's not going to someone else.
Fascinating, fascinating. That's brilliant. Let's move on to like the next section, and to wrap this up. It's just been fascinating listening to all of that, and unless you have any more questions, Vanessa, I think like that's just so interesting. I think our audience will be excited and they'll be looking up
Yeah,
coconuts out.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious about how do you, Wasabi, how do you view the crypto adoption in Dominican Republic, and maybe your view in Latin America, the adoption of crypto and Web3?
In the Dominican Republic, I can say that we are very digital when it comes to money because we have all of these apps, and like we have been early adopters when it comes to technology to money transfer. So the adoption in the Dominican Republic, I can say that is very high. It's informal because it's peer to peer, but we have a huge peer to peer market. Like it's very deep. You can get any amount of crypto that you want. You can exchange any amount of crypto that you want, and you don't even need to do KYC. That like you do KYC only if you're dealing with banks and big amounts. But
glad
crypto,
to hear that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
yeah, crypto adoption is very high, and we have a huge peer to peer market. Like we have many foreign currency floating around in the bank system, in the hands of the people. So I can say that the Dominican Republic is in a perfect position to become a crypto hub, because even the government officials, they love what we're doing with the DAO and the Coconut and the framework that we're creating, because we have to explain them how everything is going to work before
Right,
they
right.
give us the planting permits.
Mm.
For us to get the planting permits, we have to do like a mini demo of how everything is going to work. So they are very happy that we are doing this and we are implementing this new, let's say, way of doing co-op. So they just waiting on the sideline for us to succeed, so they can be like, oh yeah, you were right, and this is a system that we can implement around the whole country.
That's great.
Yeah, that's just wonderful to have that sort of support. And yeah, folks listening, Dominican Republic's the next place to be. Like the next crypto hub. Get there, move there, move away from like the sort of the tired places that are like that are not really great anymore, and go and start fresh in the Dominican Republic, and exciting stuff. What do you think? Wasabi, just love to get your thoughts just on the wider crypto bear market that we're in. You see a lot of scams going on. A lot of people are negative. Do you think this is just another cycle of that? And you're more optimistic about the long-term potential of blockchain tech and decentralized, using it for decentralized power, community building. And how do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that? Because it gets a lot of people down, but we like to stay optimistic here on blockchain solidarity.
I can say that there is a very bright future waiting for us when it comes to blockchain and DAOs and DeFi and ReFi. I can say that people is learning of the mistakes of not having a decentralized governance body, of not having a decentralized oversight. Because if you look at why we are in a bear market in the first place, is because of centralization. It's
Right,
because
exactly.
you have many people that hold all of the power, and they have control over everything. Um, Yeah, the future is bright because people is learning about the mistakes. People is learning that you need to back your token, you need to back the community, you need to back your NFT collection with something real. You need a business plan. You need something that can be there in 5 years, in 10 years. Like you need to actually base your growth plan on an actual plan and not on hype, because you can see a lot of hype before the crash.
Yeah.
So if you take a look at Luna, for example. Luna had a very high hype before the crash because the they are using the trust that people give those projects in a bad way. So this is why we have all of the voting power in one side. Because right now the landowners have control over the land. So you can't have the landowners having control over the DAO too. So what do you do? You give the power to the people that's gonna put down the money, and the landowners have the power of the over the DAO, and you create a lifetime contract between these two people. And this trust is going to be in the hands of the DAO members when it comes to, oh yeah, we need to create a funding proposal. It has to pass down by the DAO member. It has to be approved by the DAO member. So that you take care of the trust even before there is trust in the project.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you said about the hype, because I see many people guiding from that, from FOMO or hype, and you gotta do your research. You got to get more deep than
Right.
that. So yeah, I think that's a good reminder.
I think these crashes, like us, do are a reminder, but also a wake up call for everyone to realize that you can't build Web3 with the old ways. New tools, but old ways. You need to think about new ways of economy. Bottom up power. Everything that we're
Yeah.
so focused on in this podcast. That we post capitalism is what we call it, to put a word on it, but people have different words, but it's really it. Like we don't have any time left to be unsustainable with the planet. We don't have, democracy is just dwindling everywhere, and all the profits have been reaped by the people at the top. So it's time for something different. We can't just continue those ways in Web3. And guys listening, folks listening, like if you haven't heard a better example of that today from KokonutDAO. I don't know what you're listening to, but that's it. It ticks all the boxes for us. So give it a look up. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Wasabi, where can everyone find you? What's your Twitter handle? Yeah, where can they find out more about KokonutDAO?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere as Wasabi Network. That's my username. I'm in Twitter, Discord, everywhere. And you can read about the Kokonut Network in Twitter as Kokonut Network, or the website Kokonut.network with the KK at the beginning. We hope.
Wonderful. Well, what we'll do is we'll get you to send the links over to us. We'll put it in the show notes, the description notes for the episode, that everyone can find it themselves, and go and look it up, and really give it a good search, folks, and find out a little bit more, because it's really interesting. Wasabi, thanks for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm a little sad we can't keep on talking, but I have a funny feeling we're going to get you back to keep track of this progress. It sounds like in the new year and in the next 3 months, lots are going to be happening. You're looking at, like, the community, the DAO is looking at new ways to do things, and it's constantly growing, and there's lots of exciting things coming. So I'm sure we'll have you back for round two to check in on what's going on. But thanks so much for joining
Yeah,
us
thank you. Thank you,
today.
Wasabi, for joining us. I'm also happy that I got to do this first blockchain solidarity episode, and that it was with a very interesting project. So thank you for joining us, and thank you, Alex, for inviting me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Vanessa. And yeah, and folks, also, Vanessa's going to have her own pod, as we mentioned at the top. She'll probably have Wasabi and KokonutDAO on her side of things as well, as we're bringing you back here. So there you go. You're just like, so many interviews coming up. Wasabi, that's crazy. But yeah, Vanessa, thanks. Yeah, been a pleasure, and yeah, good luck with the pod you're going to launch too under Blockchain Solidarity. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's so many interesting projects out there like this one. Folks, stay tuned for more. But yeah, thanks, guys. Let's end it there, and yeah, hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Vanessa, for being so nice. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, Alex. I had a great time. It was a very relaxing combo. Thank you for that. It was an honor for me to do the last one of the year with you guys. You were
We feel honored,
Great.
eh? We feel honored. Yeah, thank you so much. Those are very kind words, and that is important. We like to have down to earth conversations. That's how you get the best knowledge out there. I feel anyway. So yeah, cool. Okay, lovely guys. Have a lovely day. From to Venezuela and Dominican Republic. And yeah, and we'll speak soon.
okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Bye. Bye.